Hey guys! Today I will show you the short recap of a Hollywood action thriller film, The American. Get ready for the best parts. Of course, the spoilers. The movie begins with the main character Jack, also known to be Edward, spending some quality time in a cabin with his lover Ingrid in Dalarna, Sweden. The next morning, they both set out for a walk, and Jack suddenly sees some footprints and quickly pulls Ingrid to a shelter. An unknown person shoots a sniper at them, and Jack pulls out a gun from his coat and shoots the person. He tells Ingrid to go call the police, but as she moves, he shoots her from behind because he feels suspicious of her. An armed man is later seen, and Jack shoots him from behind and drives away with his car. In the next scene, Jack is seen with some luggage arriving in Rome, and he contacts his boss, Pavel, who directs him to wait in a bar. Pavel comes to meet him and asks if the lady he was did set him up, but Jack responds by saying she had nothing to do with the incident. He asks Pavel about the Swedish assassins that came after him, and he responds by saying he was working on it. Pavel then tells him that he cannot stay in Rome and orders him to go to Castelvecchio, a comune and town in the Abruzzo region of Italy. Jack becomes suspicious of him, and after getting to Castelvecchio, he turns back and heads to Castel del Monte, a Renaissance hill town in the province of L'Aquila in northern Abruzzo, Italy. He then throws away the phone given to him while driving. Jack is able to get a place of refuge there, and he sets out the next day to a restaurant for a coffee. While outside hitting a machine, a priest named Father Benedetto walks up to him and questions him about his mission in the town. The priest invites him to come over to his place that night if he wants to know the truth about the town. Later that day, Jack calls Pavel, who asks why he wasn't picking up his calls through the phone he gave him. He then tells him about a job he needs to do. Jack goes to the priest's house later that evening, where they discuss about his mission. The next day, Jack meets with a lady assassin named Matilda, and he introduces himself as Edward. From their conversation, it is revealed that Matilda wants Jack to make a custom sniper rifle for her. Jack notices a man staring at him, and he asks Matilda if they are together, but she responds by saying she came alone. The next scene shows Jack entering a store to collect a package from a man. He returns home to open the package, and we can see that the object inside is a rifle, which he assembles. Later that night, he goes to meet a prostitute named Clara. The next day, Jack is seen helping the priest fix a vehicle, and then he invites Jack to his place at night. Jack goes there at night and gets to see a pic of the priest with a young man who the priest calls Fabio, a mechanic. They have dinner together and also engage in a conversation. In the next scene, Jack is seen driving on the highway, and his car suddenly develops a fault. He drives down to Fabio's garage to lend some tools he could make use of. He takes the tools to his house and uses them to make the silencer gun. He then goes to a riverside to test it. Later that night, he notices a man watching after him in a car as he enters a bar. He realizes the man has already left the car, and Jack heads back home. The following day, he is seen meeting with Matilda at a train station, and he drives her to a riverside so she can test the weapon he made for her. She tests it with her target and also gives him to test as well. She is impressed with the gun and his craftsmanship. However, she tells him to make some adjustments with the screws on the sight and the silencer as they were too loose. They then leave the place in Jack's car, and he drops her off at the train station. Later that night, he goes to meet Clara, and they engage in a hormonal play. After they are done and then discuss for a while, Jack tips her, and she realizes he has a soft spot for her. In the next scene, Jack is seen making necessary adjustments to the silencer gun. He later goes to a bar, and Clara sees him and enters to meet him. She introduces her friend Anna to him, and he asks if they could join him for coffee. Clara tells him they are going to see an American movie as her friend Anna is learning English. They then arrange to meet each other for a date at a new place Clara suggested. Later that night, Jack heads home and notices a man following him from behind. He is able to hide from the man and then follows him from behind before a bike man causes an obstruction, and the assassin man kills the bike man. Jack rides on the bike and pursues the man. Jack is able to stop him, and he kills him. He then calls Pavel and informs him about the incident, but Pavel tells him to stay put and complete the job he sent him to do. At night, he has a nightmare where he sees a flashback of Ingrid's body lying in state. He is terrified about it and sits on his bed. Early that morning, Jack goes for a walk and meets with the priest. The priest tries to talk to him to confess his sin and consider changing his ways. Jack then questions him about Fabio as he notices they have each other photos and eyes, but the priest tries to snub the question. The next scene shows Jack and Clara meet at the place they planned on having dinner together. Clara asks if he is married, and he responds he doesn't, but she then insists that he seems to have a secret he's hiding from her. A man comes to them and gives them a flower as he believes they are a couple, and Jack accepts it, which makes Clara happy. The next morning, Jack sees a pistol in Clara's purse and becomes suspicious of her. In the next scene, Jack is seen arranging the sniper he made in a briefcase, and then also later seen in a car watching Clara from a distance with a telescope as she speaks with some men. The next day, he calls Pavel and tells him he needs some more time and days, and he agrees to give him 2 days. Later that day, he takes Clara out for a picnic at his usual place at the riverside. On arriving there, Clara goes swimming in the river and calls Jack to join her, but he refuses. As she leaves the river, she sees a bullet and assumes some hunters are around. While they are relaxing, Clara tries to bring something from her purse, and Jack cocks his gun silently, fearing she might want to shoot him with her pistol. She then brings out a cream, and he's surprised. While leaving, he asks what she is doing with a gun, and she reveals to him that a friend gave it to her for self-defense. She then informs him about 2 prostitutes killed in Pescara and some policemen who came to show her the photographs. She then tells him she wants to feel safe with her clients, and that's why she takes it along with her. She then tells him a procession is coming up and asks if he could follow her and then spend some time together. Jack tells her he can't stay forever, and she tells him to take her home with him, but he says he can't, and she then kisses him and tells him to stay forever instead. Later that day, Jack calls Pavel and tells him that he will make the delivery and then leave the town. Pavel is then later seen contacting Matilda and talking with her. Jack also returns to his apartment and is seen reopening the silencer pistol briefcase. In the next scene, Jack is seen driving down to a restaurant to meet with Matilda. He hands over the briefcase to her and then feels suspicious of her. As he sees her arriving from the toilet, he goes out to meet her, and before she can do anything, a bus appears with the children coming down from it, and Matilda leaves. Pavel is seen calling Matilda, and she explains to him there was not an opportunity for her to kill Jack, but she was going after him. There is a religious procession in the town, and Matilda is seen with the briefcase heading to the rooftop of a house after killing the occupant. Jack is then seen looking for Clara and finally sees her. He tells her to come away with him forever, and she agrees. As they are about to kiss, Matilda is seen about to fire the sniper on Jack, but it backfires on her face. Jack sees her fall from the rooftop, which confirms his suspicion about her, leading him to sabotage the rifle before delivering it to her. He then gives Matilda the envelope with money and tells her to meet him by the riverside where they had their last picnic. The priest sees Jack running, and he follows him. Jack runs to meet Matilda, and he asks who she works for, and it is revealed to be his boss, Pavel. Pavel goes after Jack, and before he can shoot, Jack turns around, and they both shoot at each other. Pavel eventually dies, and Jack is seen in his car driving to meet Clara. As he is driving, he feels his stomach and notices he has been shot as well. The movie ends with Jack arriving at the river, and as he sees Clara, he collapses in his car, and Clara runs to meet him. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you had an awesome day, and do not forget to cheer people around you. If you like the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for daily content like this.